I always know something. I know that I am really interested in my story. I don't even always know why I'm interested, but if I'm not really interested, that's a death knell for a project. If I'm doing it because which I don't do, but I have been tempted to because I think it'll sell, or because it feels like this is in the ether and there should be a book about this. If it's not a book that deeply interests me, it would be a mistake to follow that.
So when do you know that you're definitely interested, and how often do you have false leads where you thought you were, but now on second thought, by chapter 2, I'm not into it?
If I get to 10,000 words, I usually am committed. I know there's a lot of people who do writing exercises, who journal in 5 different points of view of the different characters, who build out their story in all these different ways that are just for fun, and those things don't become part of the book. But I almost never do that. I am a storyteller, and I just like to tell the story straight through. And sometimes that means that in second or third draft, I need to take out big chunks and write new big chunks. That happens a lot. But if I have 10,000 words of a story, that to me usually feels like a pretty big arrow in the direction of I'm really interested. Now, I wrote an entire book.
For Just Harriet, when that's half the book you've written?
Well, I think with Just Harriet, it's a little bit different because it's farther into my career. And this book I sold on, a proposal and several first chapters. So I knew Harriet was going to be a book. It had to be, which is a different part of the career process when business does coexist with art and craft. I had started thinking about Just Harriet actually several years ago, and I'd written another book. I think it was like 2 or 3 chapters. It was called Just Harriet, and the character was older. She was 12, and it was a whole different story. She had a mother with chronic illness, and she and her mother were preparing to get on a train with their cat, Matzo Ball, to go somewhere. I didn't know where yet, but they were getting on this train, and she was having to negotiate the tickets with the ticket agent because her mother, was not feeling well in the sitting. And that character had a lot of anger. And which I'm all for, characters who are angry. In fact, this Harriet is angry too, although it's gentler anger, I think. And that book didn't continue. I got about 3 chapters in, and I was like, I just don't know. I didn't get the next idea. Just the next thing didn't come, and so it just sat there for a long time. And then it wasn't until I'd written The Question of Miracles, and I'd written Far From Fair. I mean, I think Harriet had been sitting in a drawer for a long time, and then I decided I wanted a book that had that gentle, loving kindness of Bat. And I came back to that Harriet character, and I saw something in her, a spark of, it's her love for her family, that had that sense of gentle, loving kindness that I wanted to follow. And then I said, well, what if she wasn't going with her mom somewhere? It's always the what if. What if she was going by herself to this, and why would she be going by herself? What if her mom was having another kid? Well, how would Harriet feel about that? And all of a sudden I started having all these other ideas for how Harriet would feel, and how she would felt about not being consulted, and how, even though she loves the island and she loves her Nanu, this wasn't her choice. And she has a lot of anger, and so it went a different direction.
I love that none of the human characters appear to have survived the draft, but Matzo Ball is still there.
The cat remains unscathed, yes.